Katrina Wollet. Katrina Wollet is a freelance storyteller. If she isn't in her studio, she's probably in the woods, lost near downtown Minneapolis, or looking for her glasses. I can relate. Every fall she goes straight from sandals to boots, and every spring she does the reverse. This evening she's reading for the first time a short piece called The Old Peterson Dock. Please welcome Katrina Wollet.
I wanted to start by just telling you a little bit about my last summer, which has kind of been a big influence for this piece. And talking about my writing isn't something that I normally do. So the last 6 months or so has been really different for me. I met my partner, and I also had my dad and my grandfather diagnosed with cancer. So it's been a lot of emotions on all different scales. So for me, writing has always been the way that I make sense of things, and this piece is music. The Old Peterson Dock. 1. Indy's frames were oversized and shiny black, like Garrett's dad's new Ford F-150. If you looked at her straight, you could see they tilted slightly left, but Indy said she couldn't tell. We met last year, sliding down the railing that leads to the cafeteria. "Race me up the staircase," she said as our lunch table was dismissed to the playground. "We can hold hands while we slide back down. Winner gets to go first. Be fast before Mrs. Nemec, the lunchroom supervisor, sees us." Sunny Days High is a good school, but a few years ago there was talk about closing it. The teachers didn't bring it up in class, and the parents whispered about it while they cleaned dinner dishes. We're still not sure if it's because Sunny D wasn't very big, or because we didn't pay the utility bills, or because the football team wasn't as good as Memorial or West. Whatever it was, they must have figured it out because we're still here. Indiana never came to football games or PTO family nights or band concerts. Really, any non-mandatory school activity. After school, I could always find her at the old dock, picking rocks, humming quietly, dipping her toes in the water. At school, though, down the east wing, through the window of room 102, Indy looked different. Like a fragile rag doll patched together from millions of little things you find under couch cushions and in old backpacks. Little buttons or coins for the eyes, little gum wrappers folded into shoes, little old Kleenexes for sewing dresses. At the dock, her color always came back. 2. The teachers always told her to sit up straighter, look up when she talked, or to stop mumbling. They always assigned her to the front row, but she didn't care. The only thing that really bothered her was that they never got her name right. The same teachers made the announcement Thursday morning. The thick, humid June air outside was just as dense inside. Mrs. Smallows, the teacher in room 102, found me standing at Indy's gray, unopened locker, reading and rereading her name tag. The end part, Anna, crossed out so it just read Indy. Mrs. Smallows didn't say anything. She just looked at me. She just asked me to say something nice about her at the assembly on Friday. You knew her best, she told me. Sure, I knew how Indy sounded when she ate a peanut butter and jelly on the school lawn, or how she smelled as we dried off on the banks of the Coishaway River. I knew her favorite pit to build a fire after dark, where the cops rarely checked. I knew she had a scar underneath her chin. She got rocking on a chair back and forth as a toddler. She says she remembered doing it. I was trying to get to the stars, she'd say. That's more than most toddlers. I knew the important things, the things no one else cared about until now. What would I say? I asked. Well, you could tell us about her favorite things to do together, or what you like to talk about, or maybe what her favorite subject was and why, Mrs. Small said. You could try to tell us your favorite memory with her. I nodded and she walked away. I pulled the name tag down and put it in my pocket. 3. The next morning, the first bell rang at 8:16 on the lawn. Our class wandered sleepily into the gymnasium. The bleachers were pulled out and a projector was set up near the white wall underneath the basketball hoop. I never was any good at basketball or any other sport that required hand-eye coordination or just coordination. I only played one season in 6th grade, well, 3/4 of a season until I broke my middle finger. There weren't any basketballs nearby, but a microphone was set in the middle of the tip-off circle. The boys' soccer team sat together near the top of the bleachers playing some sort of hand-slapping game. The girls crowded near the front sniffling. Hugging, Janet said to Bridget, "What was her last name again?" They agreed it started with a W, something like Walsh or Welsh. They wiped each other's tears back and fixed their hair bows. I sat in front on a chair near the microphone between Mr. Buddy, the guidance counselor, and Mrs. Smalls. Mr. Johnson, the principal, stood near the microphone. Like Indy's chair in room 102, their empty chairs waited for them just outside of the circle. As the assembly started, Mr. Johnson opened, "We're glad each of you are here this morning." His voice rattled like marbles across a wood floor. "This is hard for all of us. I want you to know that Mr. Buddy is here to talk to you at any time during the school day over the next few weeks." His eyes kept staring at the mic stand. Indiana's best friend, Anton, is going to begin with a few nice memories for those of you who didn't know her well. At the end, we'll show a nice slideshow. Mr. Johnson began to move the mic down to my height. Mrs. Smalls said I could tell a story. I began. 4. Down by the old Peterson dock, me and Indy skip rocks. She picks the rocks all wrong by the color and not the smooth, flat edge. She says that just because the rocks don't have words, that doesn't mean they can't talk. She says they tell us things through color. It's their language. We just have to open our eyes wider. Look, she says, the blue ones, for example. They are trying to tell us that they want to be back in the blue water. Indy says when she feels blue, she walks down by the old dock by herself and she feels better. I think Indy was always blue and now she's just gone back to the water. She's talking to us through color. We just have to open our eyes.